All right, good morning, everybody. On behalf of the Orange Chamber of Commerce, you are here at the January installment of Eggs and Issues. Welcome. My name is Berkenda. Before we get started, I have someone sitting here behind me in my chair. Hello. The newly crowned Miss Orange. All right, Miss Kylie Seppala, welcome. I'm going to give you my microphone. Perfect, thank you. If you can just, as a quick answer, not to put you on the spot, but what are you most looking forward to in your term as Miss Orange?
Well, one event that I'm very much looking forward to is the 3rd of July fireworks, because I just grew up going every single year, and now it's tradition to go with my friend group every year, so I'm really excited to be up on that stage. It's going to be such an honor. It's one of my favorite events, so yeah.
One of mine too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you afterwards. If she'll be staying around, so if you guys want to meet her, take a photo if that's okay. She'll be around with Connie over here after the meeting. Thank you for joining us.
And she's a Chapman student.
Yes. Most importantly. Go Panthers. Let me see if I can get this on without seeing. Let's see. Okay. All right. Well, as you guys know, I see a lot of new faces. So today is an open format. So our guest is here for you. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and raise your hand. We'll get as many questions answered as we can. We'd like to do a hard stop around 8:50 because there's a ton of announcements, a lot of good things coming, and then also give you guys a chance to speak with our guest afterwards before we take off. As always, I'll do a quick thank you ahead of time. I know sometimes, Sean, you're not here at the end. We're at Orange Cafe Bistro, which has an amazing breakfast. They are not open today, which is Tuesdays, and so they open for us just to have this breakfast. So we also like to make sure that they're able to kind of clean up and leave and close the restaurant back after this. But Sean, thank you so much for hosting for such a long time. All right, it's time.
It's time.
So it is my pleasure to introduce this morning's guest speaker, Alisa Driscoll. Alisa, welcome.
Thank you.
This is Alisa's first time sitting in this chair. However, she is our immediate past chair for the chamber. So she has been on the other side for all of the segments. And when we used to do the Zooms, she would help me kind of behind the scenes. So she's literally been in every single segment, just we've never actually put her in the hot seat. So glad to finally have you on this side. And before we get started, I would love to just tell you a little bit about her. As Vice President of Community Relations, Alisa Driscoll proudly serves as Chapman University's Chief Community Liaison Official. In this role, she collaborates with residents, government officials, local businesses, and nonprofit organizations on programs and initiatives that benefit the communities surrounding the university's campuses. Alisa serves on the board of several community-based organizations, including Friendly Center and Orange Public Library Foundation. She is also the immediate past chair of the Orange Chamber of Commerce. A strong advocate for diversity, equity, and inclusion, Alisa has served as chair of Chapman University's Women's Advisory Group and has also worked on initiatives to help address food insecurity among students. Prior to her work in higher education, Alisa worked as a fundraiser for local nonprofits. She holds a bachelor's degree from UC Irvine and a master's degree from Chapman University. Alisa lives in Old Town Orange with her husband, Phil. Well, good morning again.
Good morning. And thank you all for coming out. I know it's early, so we appreciate it. And tuning in on Facebook Live, of course.
Yes, definitely. Well, before we kind of jump in to everything, your position, so the Community Relations Office, which is a really fun office, spent a lot of time there over the last several years. It's just such a fun spot. It's right, off site of campus. You guys broadly, as I mentioned in your bio, do so many things, but if you could kind of start by telling us really what that means to us as far as the business community.
Yeah, so community relations, it's a really broad term. So the office that she's referring to is actually my house/office. So I have a really unique setup or actually live in the front house of the property and my office is in the back house of the property. And Chapman actually did that because they wanted their community liaison to be accessible to the surrounding community, right? So in terms of community relations, I kind of think of it in three different buckets. First, we are an educational institution, so students play a huge part in what we do. And a lot of what our department focuses on is the education that you're not really learning in the classroom. So for example, when students move away from home for the first time, who's teaching them how to live in a neighborhood? Who's teaching them that you have to bring your trash cans in on time? Yeah, I know, that's a big one.
I feel like some people still need that lesson as an educator.
Yeah, it's not really an age-specific issue. If you're going to have a gathering with friends, maybe don't do that on like a Tuesday night at like 11 o'clock. Just a lot of those things that, are life lessons that you need to learn when you're moving away from home for the first time. So we are the office that will actually go out into the community and facilitate a lot of that dialogue with students as well as with our neighbors. So as you can imagine, there are differences in lifestyle, right, between, some retirees and some college students who might live next door. So how do we get these people talking and really having a good dialogue about how we can live together peacefully, right? So that's a key part of what we do, and also trying to encourage our students to go outside of the classroom and learn more about the community that they're living and going to school in. Especially, the students who are coming maybe from out of town, whether they're international, out of state, they don't really understand the community that surrounds the campus. So how can we really get them ingrained in participating in a meaningful way? So that's one part of what we do. The next part of what we do is entitlements. And so that's just a big fancy word for we're helping get projects through the city to get approvals, right? So if there is a building that needs to be approved, if there is, for example, Aaron is hosting an amazing economic development. Where is Aaron? He's back there.
He's back there.
Okay, so next week there's an amazing economic development forum that one of our faculty is going to be participating on a panel for regarding Old Town economic development. There's still room if you want to go. But I mean, just interfacing with the city and really trying to be a partner and a thoughtful collaborator with a lot of the city activities. So that's another part of what we do. And then the final part is really kind of community engagement. So I see a lot of familiar faces. You see me all throughout the community at different organizations, serving on boards, committees. How can we really support the community that surrounds our campus? President Strupa, our president, has always been very, very vocal about the fact that the community is really the key to a successful campus. And we're only as successful as a campus as our surrounding community is. So partnerships and really ingraining ourselves in a meaningful way and participating is really important, not just to me, but to the university as well. So those are kind of a broad overview of what community relations does. And we have a mighty team of two, plus 3 students who are absolutely incredible. So,
Yeah, we were missing James this morning.
James is sick this morning, and a lot of you know James, my counterpart. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for that.
Of course.
That really does help in learning what you all do and why you were placed where you were placed on campus, basically.
Yes.
So very cool. Another exciting thing I saw coming up in the fall, or that was announced in the fall, is that you have a new president. I believe it's Matt Parlow. So He is the 14th president, am I correct?
He's coming in as the 14th president, yes. So some of you may have seen the announcement, but we have a new president coming in starting in September, which is very exciting. So Matt Parlow is, he was an internal candidate, which I know about you. I always love that when that happens, right? So he is our executive vice president and chief advancement officer. So he oversees all of our fundraising and marketing on the campus and has been doing a phenomenal job. Prior to that, he was actually the dean of our law school. So he's had a vast amount of experience on the academic side, on the fundraising side, and in senior administration. So he's actually, I think it's amazing because our current president, Daniele Strupa, is going to be kind of helping guide him over the next 8 months or so. So he has a really great transitional period. The times that I've been able to work with Matt on a lot of community-based initiatives, he has been fully supportive of really ingraining ourselves in the community and having Chapman be a central part of the conversation in Orange specifically. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do as our new leader, and he's very supportive of the work community relations is doing. So I'm looking forward to hopefully bringing him in maybe to a future Eggs and Issues and letting him meet all of you and introduce him throughout the community. He's a really, really great guy.
Do you think during his transitional period, that's a long time, 8 months, so it's which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we can expect to see him really out and about and attending things, or how does that look for us as far as like perhaps getting to meet him and just interact with him during that lead up period?
Yeah, it's definitely, I think, going to be kind of an interesting situation because he still has his current position that he's, you know, in, but he's also taken on this president-elect position. So I can definitely imagine that he'll be out in the community more, wanting to be, you know, seen as, you know, the new incoming face of Chapman. I don't know what his schedule will allow, but I'll definitely be inviting him and encouraging him to join us at these kinds of events. I think it would be great for him to really, you know, be a part of this.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
We look forward to meeting
Absolutely.
him.
Absolutely.
And I may butcher this name, so I have the Killefer School Transformation.
Ooh, transformation. I love that.
Yes. Did I get that right?
Yes, the Killefer.
Killefer. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So what I have here is if you can tell us about this transformation and how the school is going into the Institute for Quantum Studies and what that significance is and how it may affect the local community and what's going on.
Yeah. Has anyone heard of the Killefer School? Few? Okay, so bear with me. I know Rick does. So the Killefer School is really an incredible jewel in this community. And it was something that I wasn't aware of and until it really kind of came about in my sphere. So in 1944, the Killefer School became the first desegregated school in the U.S., which is phenomenal. This happened in Orange. This is right in our backyard. It was named after Lydia Killefer, who was a school teacher and then the principal of the school. And so this was actually 3 years prior to the Mendez versus Westminster case, which, as we know, desegregated schools in Orange County, which predated the Brown versus Board of Education case, which, you know, obviously did that on a national level. So the school is incredible. We're turning it into the Institute for Quantum Studies. I know her son's very excited about that. And so these are the types of scientists that are actually like really focused on equations and like looking at like chalkboards and like the really intense about that. And so what we've basically been doing, we purchased the building in 2020 from Orange Unified School District. And since then, we've been undergoing an adaptive reuse. So basically what that means is we are trying to restore it to the absolute best possible level that we can to make sure that it's historic and culturally respectful of the site. And we're doing everything. If you can imagine, the chalkboards they used in the school, we were actually able to reuse, and they're going to be in the new building as well. So we've done everything from windows to paints to it's incredible. I can't wait for you all to see it. But what's really amazing is it's really a community space. So when you walk in the building, there's going to be a lobby. And in that lobby, there is going to be an exhibit space that actually pays tribute to the history and cultural significance of that building. Not just the building, but the Cypress Street barrio that it's located within, as well as the history of desegregation as a whole. And what I love about this is we actually have 2 classes at Chapman last semester. One was a History of Orange County class, and one was a Intro to Latin American Studies class. And those students actually collaborated and put together content that's going to be used in that exhibit space. So really engaging the students and making them aware of our immediate local history is something that I think is just priceless. We are working on that currently, that exhibit space. And then additionally, I have to give credit to the city for this. One of the conditions of approval for the space was that there's an amazing community meeting room. And that is actually going to be open to the public. So it's going to be open for folks to be able to reserve it if you are a neighborhood or community nonprofit group. Yes. And so that you'll be able to reserve that through the community relations office. We're still figuring out kind of the logistics there, but that space is going to be open so that everybody will still be able to access the history of this incredible space. So it's going to stay a community space. It's going to stay in the educational space, you know, and it's honestly such an incredible project. The construction is anticipated to be completed in the spring, and then we're anticipating a grand opening of sorts, hopefully in August or September, and I'll make sure to invite the chamber so that you're all in the know. But it's looking to be pretty incredible. I just got to walk the space last week, and I am just so blown away with the respect that was done to this site. So I'm really excited for you all to see it.
That's amazing. Congratulations on being able to transform that space into something that is still within the community. And I think that Chapman as a whole, not to jump ahead, but one of the things I wanted to talk about probably later, but I think now is a good time, is really Chapman really being not only ingrained in the community, but just in giving back. And I know that these are on everyone's seats. And I think this is part of that, of like how you guys are in the community and things that you've given back. And I think I read that, was it $132,000 equivalent of space and time went back into community and nonprofits over this past year, which I think is amazing. So I'd love to just give a round of applause to you guys for that. Thank you so much for doing that. Yeah. I know we, as the chamber, have hosted a number of things there, so I know we're included in that like nonprofit, giving. So that's amazing. We love that you guys do that. Thank you so much. So talking about the next, the next 10 years, the specific Plan 7. I know we've probably all, who's heard of this, the specific Plan 7? A couple people. Okay. I know it comes up a lot at City Council.
What gave you that idea, Berkenda?
So just to get it on out there. So the last specific plan ended in 2022. It was for 10 years. So we have this new plan that's coming into play and being discussed, but it's in the early stages. I guess, when can we expect to hear more about it, or if you can feel comfortable diving into really what that is for the community?
Yeah, of course. So I can briefly touch on that. So the specific plan is essentially a campus vision of what's going to happen next over the next 10 years or so. So instead of, going to the city every time, we need an approval for something or a conditional use permit or whatever it might be, it's like, let's take everything in one holistic package and just be smart about how we're going to do this, right? So what it does is it's looking at kind of three buckets in my view. The first is building projects. So what kind of building projects do we want to, take on as a campus over the next 10 years? And there are two of them. So one of them is DeMille Hall, which is located right along Glasell, right kind of on the other side of Bruxy. It's currently a one-story building. And so what we're proposing is to utilize the space that we currently have and build up. So it's not, we're not looking to build out, if we're looking to build up, and it will, of course, be within the Old Town Historic guidelines of height. So nothing that's going to be higher than the buildings that already exist on our campus. The second building is going to be Bethal Hall, and some of you may be familiar. It's kind of tucked away. It's right behind the law school, right adjacent to the Barrera parking structure. It's also a one-story building, so we're proposing to do the exact same thing to that building. And what's really going to be amazing is if we are given approval from the city, is we're proposing a student success center. So I don't know if that, if when you were in college, I know for me, when I had to access a resource, it was like, okay, well, this is over here and this is over here, and I need to go all over campus and figure out how I'm going to make this work. The idea behind this is we're going to put everything in one spot. So you can have disability services there, you can have the registrar's office, you can have student affairs, and you will literally be in one spot, which I think is going to be a really huge asset for our students. So that's the building side. The second part is tied to our enrollment. And so we are proposing an enrollment increase of about 1.8% over every year for the next 10 years, which equates to about 1,800 students total. So it will be a gradual increase. It's not like, hey, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and there's 1,800 more students next door to me. That's not kind of how it's going to go. It's going to be very kind of steady and projected. And the reason why we're asking for that is we are hoping to really be more representative of the communities that are surrounding the university's campus, really draw more students from Orange, Santa Ana, Anaheim. The college data that we're getting now shows that the students who are pursuing a college education, more of them are first generation students and more of them are going to have a significant need for financial aid. So we really want to create more access opportunities for students to be able to obtain a college education. So the third part of the specific plan is looking at, we call them quality of life initiatives. And so that for us is, what are some things that we can memorialize within this document that are going to benefit the community? So if Chapman is given the green light to go ahead and do these buildings, to go ahead and increase the enrollment, one of those things is a 2-year live-on requirement for students living on campus. So all students in their first and second years will be required to live in on-campus housing. We're actually changing that a little bit this year. We've gotten an additional residence hall in Anaheim, which is really, really exciting. And so we are actually, this year's freshman class was admitted with the understanding that it's actually going to be a 3-year live-on requirement. So only seniors are going to be permitted to live off campus in the community moving forward with this current class. So that's memorialized in the document, as well as the existence of my office, so that there's still someone here to mitigate conflicts that might occur between neighbors and students sometimes. It also memorializes our neighborhood advisory committee, which meets quarterly and is representative of city staff, elected officials, neighborhood groups, and we talk about community concerns on a quarterly basis. So all of that is memorialized so that we're taking care of our community and being respectful as well. And this is a very thoughtful document. Some of you may remember we actually proposed a specific plan back in 2015. And there was, admittedly, I'll be completely honest, there was a little bit of an uproar in the community of saying, hey, what's going on? We didn't hear anything about this. So we've really taken the time to listen to our community. We've reduced the proposed enrollment increase that we asked for significantly. We've reduced the amount of buildings that we originally asked for. So it's really, I think, a cumulative effort of the work we've been doing to really build back trust in the community and listen. And I think it's going to be kind of a main topic of conversation for the next year or so. So stay tuned, but I'll be happy to bring more to you when we can.
That's a really good comprehensive overview, for sure.
It's like that's my main focus right now or something.
You're like, that's what I live and breathe.
Yeah.
Well, speaking about the expansion, so is it Chapman Court you were mentioning is the new?
Chapman Court, yes.
Okay. So we have Panther Village, Chapman Court. I don't know all of the names.
Yes.
I only know Chapman Court was brought up. As some of you know, I'm a sorority advisor at Chapman. So that's often talked about just among the students and the members of where will they live, and they want to live together and different things. And I think from what I've heard, it's going over really well among the students. Not they have so much of a choice, but I oftentimes am working with juniors, and so they're wondering how it'll impact the younger students. But it seems like it's very well received. I've seen the pictures of Chapman Court.
Yeah,
it looks amazing.
It's amazing. Not like any residence hall I ever stayed in.
Resort-like. I saw there was a pool.
Yeah.
And,
did any of you stay in a residence hall that looked like kind of a prison? And it was just it was just kind of blocked. These are luxury apartment buildings. So we actually own 2 luxury apartment buildings in Anaheim. And so this was kind of part of the reason we heard the community. A lot of folks in the community said, we weren't 100% supportive of having a ton of students living in Old Town Orange. So we got creative, and a luxury apartment building opened itself up, and we found a way to transform that into a residence hall. And it is amazing. I think there's a rock climbing wall, there's a pool, there's study spaces, it's pretty phenomenal. So the first one we opened was Chapman Grand. So that housed about 800 students. And then another building came up about a block away. Same situation. We actually just opened that in the fall for another 800 students. So that's 1,600 students, and they're actually in Anaheim, not in the city of Orange. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in some ways. From an economic development perspective, those 1,600 students are spending their money in Anaheim, right? They're not spending it in Orange. But at the same time, we listened to the community and really heard what they were saying and tried to get creative and house more students. In addition to that, we created another residence hall in 2019, which is called the K, which is at the corner of Cypress and Palm. That houses about 400 students. So if you think about it, since 2019, we've created about 2,000 more beds for our students, which is hundreds of millions of dollars of investment into student housing. Again, listening to our community and really taking that feedback seriously. So, and it's a win-win for everybody, right? Studies show that students who actually live in on-campus housing have higher GPAs, which is incredible. It really gives us, more safety for the students as well. Our public safety is able to patrol those areas. And so it's really a win-win. So we're really excited about the 3-year housing requirement, to be completely honest with you.
Yeah, well, they're beautiful. So.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. I would like to stay there.
I was like, this is really, I pulled up the photo, I'm like, that's really nice.
It's really nice.
I didn't make sure I had the right photo. I was like, is this?
Yes.
Definitely looks like a luxury spot.
Yes,
So.
it used to be the Ana Via. If some of you might know, Ana State College, it was a big building.
Yeah. All right, I think it's a good time to stop and see if any of you have questions. Remember, Alisa is here for you all to ask questions, so don't be shy. Have anybody with any questions yet?
You're here with the business community. What can you do to help you and support the college?
Great question.
That's a great question. Well, I think there are a lot of really fantastic ways that we can partner with the local business community. So first, if you're looking to hire, that's a huge opportunity that we can partner with you. So we have career fairs throughout the year. We have an amazing career and professional development office where they recruit for interns and various job positions. But what's great about our career office is it's not just current students, it's alumni as well. So you can really tap into that network that we have. Really happy to make that connection for you. For our nonprofit partners in the room, there's a really incredible opportunity that I'm not sure a lot of you know, but it's federal work study. And so what that is basically Chapman is able to provide you with students who are able to work for that nonprofit completely free of charge. We pay for their salary, we pay for the insurance, we pay for everything. And it's, strictly for nonprofit organizations. So if that's of interest to you, I know Friendly Center has many of our students doing their work study there. It's actually their financial aid package that we're able to do through the federal government. So that's a great opportunity as well. And I would say, Chapman, we have some flyers on the table that kind of talk a little bit about economic development. And I would say when the specific plan gets forward a little bit more in the process, it's a very lengthy process that requires public hearings. So we would really appreciate any folks out there in our business community who wanted to support the university by writing a letter of support or speaking at city council, folks who, might be willing to speak to their council members, whatever it might be. But I think there are a lot of different ways to get involved, and I'm happy to meet one-on-one with you or other folks to discuss how we can partner.
I think the work study is really important. I believe we had at the chamber, didn't we have somebody?
Yes.
Was it Jasmine who was from work study or
Joey?
Yeah, so we've actually had great experiences here at the chamber with that program.
Yes.
It's just very timely and just amazing output.
Yeah, it's an amazing resource. So the Hub, OC, and Youth Centers of Orange, they employ over 50 of our work study students. So it's really integral to their operations to have access to those folks who are able to work. A lot of times, especially at the Full Circle thrift store down the street, are able to work the shifts that maybe full-time employees couldn't. So it's a really great resource.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Any other questions coming to mind right now? Aaron.
Between the Hilbert Museum and
Yeah.
the Space Center, Chapman provides a lot of cultural amenities to our city, which helps bring people to our city. It provides economic development support as well as enrichment to the community. You want to talk a little bit about some of the offerings that are available through the university, both for the community and just in general?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you brought up two of the big ones, right? So I'm assuming a lot of you have been to the Hilbert Museum, especially since its most recent expansion. So it was using space that we already owned as Chapman University. It was previously our dance studio, and it nearly tripled in size, the square footage of the museum. It's absolutely incredible. We're able to host a lot of community events. I know the Old Town Preservation Association just hosted an event there recently. It's stunning. Not a bad seat in the house. One of my favorite shows that we've ever done, they do Beauty and the Beast. They put the film up, and then they have a live orchestra playing the songs at the same time. It's so cool. But that is a amazing cultural facility. I know it's gotten tons of accolades and awards, from the LA Times and various folks about being a stunning performing arts facility. So I would definitely encourage you to check out the schedule that's available online. Additionally, Chapman offers, you could do something every night of the week. Honestly, there is so much going on, from lectures and exhibits to our sports games. So we're a Division III sports school, which in a lot of ways, some might say, well, it's not D1. That's not as exciting. But at the same time, you're really getting this homegrown feel, which is super exciting. And tickets, I think, range between $5 and $20. It's the coolest thing. There's just really, it's a cultural resource. The campus is as a whole. Am I missing anything? These are some of my colleagues, by the way, from Chapman. Am I missing anything, marketing team, about what's open?
That's the College of Performing Arts.
Yeah. Our lovely student performing arts majors who do a lot, and opera as well, which is super cool. They actually did a Nightmare Before Christmas opera recently, which was super cool. So I would definitely encourage you to check out our events calendar. There's always something going on.
I know the expansion of the Hilbert is on my list of things to do. I want to take a day.
Have you not been there yet?
Not to the expansion, no.
Oh, okay. Let me know and I'll take you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, so couple.
Really quick,
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask, the film school, the Dodge Film
Yes.
School is super about its kind of growing notoriety and impact.
Yeah, so the film school is something that we're very much known for. I believe it's ranked number 4 nationwide, which is huge. I don't know who the top. So we have an incredible dean over there, Dean Stephen Galloway. So he actually, what's really interesting is he doesn't come from a traditional academic background. So he actually used to be the editor-in-chief of the Hollywood Reporter, which was, I think, a bold choice for the university as an academic institution to be like, we're going to bring in this, kind of new, fresh perspective. And, when I heard him speak about the film school, he has such a unique, strong vision of what he feels the film school should be. And a really crucial part of that is, how are we going to get people jobs, right? Everybody, wants to be a filmmaker. Everyone is doing their, their artistic thing. But how's that going to translate to the real world? And so we've had incredible success with our students, going into film festivals and getting all of these accolades. And I really think it's the vision of our new dean who's really set this tone of, entrepreneurship and innovation. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. The film school also has a really, really great program that does documentary films for local nonprofit organizations. It's actually a class. So they partner with a nonprofit and then do some marketing kind of documentary promo videos for them as well. So there's a lot of really cool opportunities to partner with the film school. And especially, being ranked so highly in the nation, just right in our backyard is pretty cool. And I just feel like there's a lot of opportunity there that we have yet to explore even.
Definitely. That's a great question.
That is a great question. Rachel always has good questions.
She always has good questions. Well, something that I thought was interesting being, I sit adjacent to women in STEM in my career. Work with a lot of people in STEM. I just sit right on the sidelines. But I noticed that there is an engineering partnership with Girls Inc.
Yes.
That seems very interesting. So it's a summer program. If you can tell us a little bit about that and how people can possibly get involved here in the community with their children.
Yeah. So admittedly, I'm a little bit biased. So prior to working at Chapman, I used to work for Girls Inc. of Orange County. So I'm very biased. Their mission is to inspire girls to be strong, smart, and bold. So they're a nonprofit throughout Orange County. And what we did was partner with them, with their high school girls, to do a summer engineering academy through our Fowler School of Engineering. And so the students were actually able to come in, they were able to learn coding, and oh gosh, I don't even know all the technical aspects of this, but they were able to actually build things and code things and, really walk away with a tangible interest in STEM. And especially in engineering, we know that it's an underrepresented field for women, especially. And so what's been really fantastic is the students who volunteered to participate in the Summer Engineering Academy. Many of them were also Chapman students who identify as female. So it was great that we had women mentoring women in this STEM program that really is setting girls up for a trajectory of that moving forward. So those are the kinds of partnerships that I love. I think of our office in a lot of ways as a connector. So Girls Inc. approached us and said, hey, we want to do something. And we said, okay, let's figure this out and tinker with it and figure out who would be great to partner with you. And so we were able to put together this program. And when those connections happen organically, that is like hands down my favorite part of my job. So that was an incredible program. And we're really excited to do it again next year. You can go to girlsinc-oc.org to sign up for their programs and get more information.
Okay. I think we have time for a fun question. What is your favorite holiday or time of year in Orange? You're right in the heart of it.
I am. I feel like my existence takes like about 6 square blocks. Like that's like my world. I feel like graduation time. Is that strange?
No.
So like May or so, I just love the energy of our campus during that time. Everyone's excited. Everyone is, getting ready to move on to the next stage of their trajectory. It just, working on a college campus becomes just electric. And it's just, the vibes are immaculate. I just absolutely adore watching our students succeed and getting to just see them take that next step in their lives. So I would say about that time of year. I mean, everyone loves the holidays, of course, with the tree lighting and all of those things. But I think in general, that's probably one of my favorite times of year.
I think that's an interesting perspective. I'm oftentimes on campus like this time of year for sorority recruitment. And then also again at the beginning of the school year. And I feel like there is that buzz, around those times of entry and exit that are just so exciting. And it's just nice to see the town alive and people coming into town and parents coming into town. Yeah. It's a really fun time. So that's interesting.
It is a fun time. And it's also the catalyst for the summer, which in theory, like it slows down a little bit. In theory. But yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone have any last questions? If not, we'll head into announcements. Okay, how can people stay in contact with you in your office first?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to our website. It's neighborsofchapman.com. Super easy to remember instead of all the backslashes. You can find our contact information directly on our website. Both myself and James were listed there. So please feel free to reach out at any time. You can also just track me down at any of the events I'm at. Please say hi.
And also sign up for the newsletter because that's how I find out everything that's going on.
Yes, please do. That would be great. And follow us on social. We're there too. You can DM us.
I do.
You do.
All right, so we have some exciting announcements. First and foremost, we have Duke of Orange coming up on February 15th. So has anyone been to the Duke of Orange? Are you going this year? I hope so. Do we have any sponsorships or tables or anything left, Connie?
Yeah.
We do. Sorry. Other Connie. Okay, so make sure you guys put that on your calendar. Don't leave without talking to Connie, who's standing at the door, without getting a ticket or purchasing a table if you can, because it's a really, really fun night, and the funds go to an amazing organization, which is our foundation, I believe. Foundation this year? Or no? May Parade. Okay. Okay, mixers. We have our February chamber mixer that's going to be at the Ronald McDonald House. That's going to be on Thursday, February 27th. That is an opportunity you don't want to miss. Who here has actually been inside the Ronald McDonald House? Okay, quite a few of you. You really just can't go in. It's not a place that you can normally go. So if you've ever wondered about the magic of those places, if you grew up hearing about it and you're like, what is that? You absolutely must attend this mixer. It is like life-changing to even just see how they touch lives and experience that. We have our business networking group that's on the first and third Wednesdays of the month. The next meeting is next week, February 5th. We have a new member. Let's see, no, we don't. We have a ribbon cutting, many ribbon cuttings. We have January 30th at New Mix Fit, February 4th, Seniors Helping Seniors in Orange, and February 12th, Orange Modern Dentistry. We also have Networking for Introverts Roundtable Networking on February 13th. We've got flyers right over there. That sounds really interesting. All the introverts in the room, I might have to see who's over there.
Introvert.
I think I am too a little bit. We have our next Eggs and Issues that's going to be here with our Mayor, Dan Slater. So that'll be interesting to kind of catch up on things, budgets, and all the great things that are going on in the city. So don't miss that. Make sure you follow us on socials. Our website always has our events. Our social media has our events. Special thanks again to Sean at Orange Cafe Bistro for a great breakfast. Our Orange Chairman Circle sponsors, we cannot do this without you. So if you are an Orange Chairman Circle sponsor, thank you so much. Our members, our board of directors, our staff, thank you. We will see you in about a month. Yay. Of course.